Health on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Nortey by nature. We're continuing our business from last week, but let's take some praise, first and foremost, Feeling like a bit of Lord Kenya today, right? Let's get born again. Lord Kenya, an oldie but goodie. Most definitely born again. Sometimes I like saying I'm born against. In the mix, definitely. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. We're back again. It's Sunday, you know I'm here. My name is Nortey by nature. In a bouncy mood today. But I got my purple, is it lilac, purplish ladies in the studio. Me cry, I've got some purple, Charlie. Don't try me. Live on Facebook and YouTube. WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. I got the warriors in the studio. They don't look like warriors. You can't go to war in lilac or purple. But yes, the Lupus warriors in the studio. Dr. Jifa Day, specialist rheumatologist, senior lecturer with the University of Ghana Medical School, head of rheumatology at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, founder, chief Igwe, and chief servant of the Rheumatology Initiative. Gladys Dennis is next to her. Survivor, courageous warrior, living with the condition. Last week we started the journey. We're continuing today. We're looking at the cost of lupus. Moving forward by giving back. Yeah. Charlie, it's a double whammy, triple whammy. I don't know. Impact your life, your well-being, your work, your relationships, and definitely your wallet. Yes. The cost of lupus. We'll focus and emphasize on the financial cost, but the cost is a broad spectrum. And we'll be sharing that. Any questions, concerns, welcome 055 11 11 997. And like I said, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Ladies, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You look, I beg, what word should I do? You look lovely, radiant.
Thank you.
And thank you for making it on another Sunday. I know most families have stuff to do on a Sunday, and we're always indebted to you when you make that effort to share, inform, and indeed transform the lives of our citizens and of our listeners. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I asked you for some apo, and you drowned me in apo. But we want to be specific, all right? Mm-hmm. But let's just recap. Lupus, just what it is for our listeners. A chronic autoimmune disorder affects most, if not all, organs and systems, therefore systemic. But you take it over from there.
Okay. So we're talking about lupus. So lupus is an autoimmune condition. Mm-hmm. Short name is lupus. Long name is systemic lupus erythematosus.
Okay.
So it's an autoimmune condition, meaning a condition in which your immune system attacks itself.
Okay.
And out of these, there are limited
itself
types.
Being the body.
The body.
Okay.
All the organs in the body. And then we have the limited type where it attacks one particular organ.
Okay.
And then we have the systemic type where it can attack any and every organ. And lupus falls amongst the systemic types, meaning any organ can be affected.
Right.
Lupus is particularly troublesome because it tends to affect young people between the ages of 15 to 44 years. And it prefers females as well.
Okay.
So young people in their reproductive or their productive ages. It also is a problem because it tends to affect serious organs like the brain and the kidneys, but it can affect any and every other organ, the joints, the skin, the eyes, the heart, the lungs, and so on.
Okay.
And so it attacks it until it destroys it if there's no intervention, basically.
Right. Okay. You've already brought up intervention or treatment management. Okay.
Exactly.
Let me hit the big one. Is there a cure, so to speak?
There's no cure.
Right.
So I tell my patients that you look at it as a chronic disease. So you are living with it, but it's being well managed, just like you manage hypertension and diabetes. Mm-hmm. You manage it for the rest of your life.
Okay. How common is it? What's the prevalence in our part of the world?
It's difficult to give any prevalence, even worldwide, because there are not a lot of community-based studies. Mm-hmm. Definitely none in Africa. But hospital-based studies show prevalences that vary, but that means you are comparing it to other disease entities.
Okay.
And it can be from about 0.5 to about 5% of hospital admissions.
Right. Those we are aware of, those who make it to our facilities.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, it affects lots of most systems, right?
Most systems, yes.
But last week we started, and with the help of Gladys, I'll bring her in a minute. But we started with some telltale signs and symptoms.
Yes.
We had already emphasized, or somewhere in some point in the program, we showed and emphasized that it takes quite some time for it to be specifically diagnosed or conclusively
diagnosed,
identified. Right. Yeah. So what were the symptoms that we talked about?
So we have what we call constitutional symptoms that a lot of people will experience. So if you have those ones plus organ-specific symptoms, then you can add it together. And of these non-specific, because it can vary across all the conditions, a lot of people will complain about fever. So they'll be admitted several times because of malaria, typhoid, and they are not finding anything like that.
Okay.
Unexplained weight loss.
Just a sec. So malaria, typhoid, which actually is not
it
what
is not.
It is.
Exactly.
So that's why I want you to pin it down. When we say fever,
yes,
are we talking high temperatures?
High temperature.
Okay.
Ghanaians interpret fever for various things, but when we say fever medically, it means a high temperature.
Okay.
And it's also maybe associated with feelings of malaise, that you feel unwell.
Okay.
Some people may have chills, like you are shaking, or you feel cold, meanwhile you are feeling hot at the same time. Mm-hmm. So those sort of symptoms. People would lose weight without any unexplained reason. So we say unexplained weight loss.
Okay.
Sweating at night, when everybody else is cold or the weather is cold, not in this doom saw era. But sweating at night as well is one of the symptoms that we will call non-specific or constitutional symptoms.
Okay.
Then of the common symptoms that people may also experience is joint pains, usually in the small joints of the hands and the feet, and then skin rashes, okay, and loss of hair.
Okay.
So if you have some of these ones, then that may point to that. But because it affects various organs, sometimes the symptoms may be as a result of the complications from the organ being affected.
Okay.
So if it's affecting the kidney, you may have swelling around the eyes early morning, especially swelling of the feet, okay, what we call edema.
Edema, right.
Then if it's progressive, then you may have worse symptoms like reduced urination and so on. If it's around the heart or the lungs, you may have difficulty in breathing. Some people may have a persistent cough that needs to be investigated. So if you're having, let's say, joint pains, and then you've noticed that frequently you're having fever which is unexplained, nobody's finding out why, you go, you test for malaria and they are not finding any cause. And if this persists more than 6 weeks, we say as a cutoff, you need to find out what is underlying.
Conduct further investigations. All right. 17 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. If you just tuned in, you're welcome. This is Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM, your ultimate guide to healthy living. This and every Sunday, 2:05. We come alive. If it impacts your life, your well-being, we'll definitely talk about it. Today we're talking about lupus, a chronic autoimmune disorder or condition where your body's immune system is fighting and damaging your own body, right? And we're talking about systematic lupus erythematosus. Is that right?
Systemic lupus erythematosus.
Good. Okay. I have passed that one. Okay. I was rehearsing last night. Serious. Yeah, but we're talking about that. So it tends to, go on rampage across the body and its systems and organs, causing all sorts of damage, compromising function, changing form and function and structure in the body. Okay. And these may manifest in different ways. In the studio, I have with me Dr. Jifade, a consultant specialist rheumatologist at the Hollywood Teaching Hospital, a senior lecturer, a big woman. Okay. And then next to her, another big woman, Gladys Dennis, is living with the condition, was diagnosed around age 10 or whatever, and she's been living with it for the past 20 or more, or 20 and more years, right? So she's well placed to tell us what it's like, what it's, the experience is like, what is done to impact her life, and how she's coping. And emphatically and specifically, she's able to talk about the cost of lupus. The organization, the Lupus Warriors, or the specialists are launching as part of World Lupus Day celebrations an effort to raise funds, to support, supplement, because you cannot do it all, right? Supplement what these afflicted individuals have to cough out on a regular basis. Jifa has sent me stuff that, I knew it was phenomenal, but now looking at the thing, Charlie, the pink sheet, or should we call it purple sheet?
Purple sheet.
Right, is quite a burden, and we'll be talking about that. Questions welcome on 055 11 11 997. That's WhatsApp. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and shortly I will activate the phone lines. Gladys, how are you? I love this combination. These ladies.
Gloria, actually.
Oh, I said Gladys?
Gladys, yeah.
Gloria.
Yes.
Oh, goodness.
Or better still, Araba.
Araba. Okay, right. This is a lovely outfit.
Thank you very much.
Okie dokie. We'll add it to the purple sheet. But how are you doing today?
I'm fine by God's grace. Thank you.
By God's grace. You always emphasize that.
Yes.
It's been a challenging 20 plus years. Last week you shared with us how you got to know very early, but it took you approximately about 4 years before it was pinned down.
7.
7 years?
Yes.
Hey, why am I getting everything mixed up today?
No, so 4 years from rheumatoid to lupus.
Right. You were initially diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis,
yes.
Right? And then finally you
found
landed at lupus.
Yes.
Somewhere. I mean, it sounds like a relief to be conclusively diagnosed, but it's not somewhere we should be wishing to go. No. Right? But you look radiant. You look like you're coping very well with it.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, I am.
Okay. What's your secret?
It's God and being disciplined, as doctor always tells us during review, to just stick to the medication, look at your lifestyle and live according to how you'll be able to live a healthy lifestyle. It's not a death sentence, so you just have to live well and you'll be fine.
Discipline.
Yes.
Faith in God.
Yes.
Right. Following what the doctors say.
Exactly.
Right. It sounds so simple. When
But
they
it
say
isn't.
when they say go by this or undergo this process, for some it may involve dialysis and other things. That's where God comes in, right? Because you've got to have the resources to be able to do that.
Yes.
Okay. Are there times when, despite smiling at Dr. Day and saying, okay, and picking up your prescription, that you know definitely you don't have it? You cannot comply. You will not be able to buy it. Or you will not be able to run the test she has requested routinely. Are there times like that?
Well, like I said the other time, I've been fortunate to have a supportive system who have ensured that I have not lacked in that regard. So I told you the last time, my dad has helped me financially till date.
Wow.
And my sisters, my mom, they all make sure that, especially my dad, he's been the financial man behind this whole process. So, and the process, it's hard. They don't want, because we know, I've seen, unfortunately, because of the length of time I have had this condition, being at hospital, I've seen a number of us not be there because probably they were not able to have medication or one or two. It's not easy like that, even emotionally. So wherever, I don't know how God does it, they make sure that I don't lack and I'm able to get my medication and move on as I should.
Okay.
Yes.
Folks, if you just joined us, this is Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Nortey by nature. We're continuing our discussion on the cost of lupus, moving forward by giving back, right? There's a very spirited effort to mobilize, raise funds to support those affected and afflicted by this condition, this chronic autoimmune condition where your body just goes haywire and is dealing with itself, damaging itself, right? It has all sorts of signs, symptoms, flare-ups, complications, you name it, right? It can be managed with medications and other things, but alongside those medications, routine investigations have to be done because it can just switch to another system that you thought was okay. So routinely you have to undergo labs and labs and labs, which are not treatments. Okay, they are monitoring what it is doing to your body and whether it has slowed down or not. And then there are treatments and procedures. It's one hell of a blow. I don't want to use punch to any person, any family. That's what we're looking at under the umbrella of this theme. Doc Jifa, you have done the course. You are now a specialist. Like I said, you're a big woman. And you know what to do, thankfully. You know how to treat and manage lupus. Why get involved and why get entangled in even mobilizing funds and resources? As a health practitioner, it sometimes is difficult to watch people, and let me leave that one. When you tell people that this is chronic and there is no cure, what is the response you get?
It depends on the type of patients. You have really varied responses.
Okay.
The people who are in complete denial,
right,
they'll tell you, no, this is not it. I'm going to
they'll go and seek another opinion, think about it.
So we have, an audit that you did. A lot of people will go to the herbalist, spiritualist and stuff before they'll come back again or not come back. Denial is the first thing for a lot of people. Then some people too will say, okay, I'm going to seek another way of managing it. So they accept the diagnosis, but they want to manage it in their own way. So that's the next response. And then you have those who are like, how am I going to live with this?
Right.
You know, they want to take the normal route, but they are looking at it. And unfortunately, that's another reason why we have this organization. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about lupus.
Okay.
The story out there is when you get lupus, you die. So already when they come, they are very fearful. They are hoping that you're not going to say lupus. So once you say lupus, for them, they've heard that lupus is equals to death. And so they are scared once you say that. So you have to reassure them that everybody is different. There are stories of hope. There are people like Gloria who are
That's good news and bad news at the same time.
Yes, it is.
Everybody's experience and
It's
manifestations are different.
Exactly.
It's good news. So mine could be milder.
Exactly.
But mine could also be the crazy wacko type.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you have to navigate how to tell them that, you know what, everybody is different. And also tell them that the most important thing is to do things, make sure you are consistent with your treatment to calm that fire down.
Right.
I tell them the immune system is on fire, but you need to bring that fire down. So long as you calm the fire down, the risk of it causing problems is less.
Right.
So the emphasis on accepting diagnosis and making sure that you're having treatment.
Okay.
For those who believe in God and they want to even go the spiritual route and don't want to accept the diagnosis, I tell them, if you do not accept the diagnosis, what are you going to tell God to heal? Because the first thing that you have to do is accept. That's okay, God, I have lupus.
That's an
I want you to
awesome way to put it there.
Yes.
If you don't accept the diagnosis,
what do you ask God to cure?
What name are you going to give it in your breast?
Exactly.
Right?
You know. So that's the first thing you need to do. Accept it. Then now we move forward with what we are going to do about it.
Okay.
Whether it's prayers, taking medications or whatever.
All right.
Accept and then we deal with it.
Wow. And that has brought you to also tackling
Yes.
the financial burden of this condition.
Yeah. So when I started doing rheumatology, one of my mentees, Prof. Afram of Blessed Mary, asked me to do an audit of the cases that were diagnosed on the ward, over the medical ward, over a period of a year or two. 46.7% of patients who had lupus on admission died. In fact, I tell my academic peers when I present it that I'm very embarrassed because it's like the highest mortality rate for lupus patients in Africa or has been recorded, in fact, across the world. So 46.7% of our patients who were admitted at that time died. That was in 2008, thereabouts.
Okay.
Thankfully, this has reduced. So I looked at the data and was, what can we do to prevent this from continuing?
Right.
You understand?
Drop those mortality
Figures down.
Right.
Early diagnosis, supporting patients to be able to accept the diagnosis, how to handle the emergency aspects of it. This is why we are trying to raise the funds. Because a lot of lupus patients come in a state of condition we call a flare.
Right.
Okay, so there's been acute attack of an organ or a system. Now, one of the most important things is to calming that fire down quickly. Once that is stable, then you can go on to chronic treatment.
Something has irritated the immune system.
And the fire is just blazing.
Right.
But you need to calm it down. And that needs some emergency treatment. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not prepared for a flare. Maybe you've been living quietly with this. All your resources have been going to chronic management. Then suddenly you are hit with a flare. How do you cough up 1,000, 2,000 cedis on the spot? Okay. So we looked at management. Long-term management. I cannot afford, we talk about the cost over time. I cannot afford to buy mycophenolate 5,000 cedis a month for a patient. But if we mobilize, we look at the number of people who can come to the hospital with a flare in a month, we can be able to raise money to support people who come with a flare. If it's 1,000, 1,500, to buy methylprednisolone, to sort them out. And that will prevent an organ which is just inflamed like the kidney, that is not treated. And then 6 weeks' time, this person is on dialysis that they can't afford.
Right.
I think 1,500 cedis is the least we can do in order to prevent that more imposing burden on the healthcare system. So that is why we went into trying to do this. It makes my work easier. It makes the work easy. It makes it better for the patient. And ultimately for the healthcare system, it is the best.
All right, folks, if you just joined us, half past the hour, well, around half and a bit, past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. We're looking at the cost of lupus moving forward by giving back. How can we soften the financial blow of this condition, right? How does it impact, families and indeed the afflicted? and how can we soften that? You just heard speaking Dr. Jifa Day. She's a consultant specialist rheumatologist with the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. She's spearheading this effort to mobilize financial resources, right, to help these patients. Next to her is Gloria Araba Dennis. She's living with the condition. And if you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Did I change something?
No.
Okay. Right, I was coming back to you to get how we can help. We're listening now. We may know something, we know nothing at all, or we are connected or affected or afflicted. How do we contribute? How do we give back to help you move forward?
There are so many ways in which you can give back. First of all, learning about this condition.
Okay.
To be able to recognize.
Educate yourself on the condition.
Exactly. Educate yourself. Then you can educate somebody. I can't tell you the number of people we have had diagnosed because of these educational drives that we do.
Okay.
They hear something, you go to the mall, okay, I heard this is lupus, people get referred. So education, spreading the word, you noticing the symptoms in your neighbor and helping them to be diagnosed early before an organ is damaged is important.
Okay.
Then we're also looking at how you can also support patients. Unfortunately, we all have crisis at a point in our lives that we cannot control. Which is what lupus is. Nobody wishes this on themselves. They haven't done anything to get it. And so we can, however, support them to make the burden lighter and also make it lighter on the healthcare system. Okay. Definitely by supporting with their financial means, whether it's in providing financial support, medication support, or rehabilitation tools for some of our patients to be able to live better. All right.
Okay. So when we contribute, who are we contributing or what are we contributing to? Is it a bank account? Is it an NGO? Is it Kolebu?
It's an NGO that has been in existence for the past almost 12 years, so 10 to 12 years. It's called the Rheumatology Initiative. Okay. So we have been raising funds. First, we used to do, most of our fundraising was intervened by the patients themselves. Okay. We raise funds by organizing events, comedy shows, and whatever money we get, we use it to fund the activities of the organization. Right. That's paying for drugs, labs, that's if it involves diagnosis or treatment of patients. Okay. And we've done this over the past 10 years. If you look at our records, on average, we treat about 50 to 60 patients every year with life-saving emergency medications with these conditions. And I mean, this week alone, we've had calls from pediatric units at Kolebu, asking for support for medications for these emergency for lupus patients. Right. On average, we get about 4 or 5 calls regarding this. For those we can afford to support with just emergency.
You're adding that to the work you do as a rheumatologist. So you are fielding requests.
So we have an administrative support process. So the patients, volunteers who help to field some of this for us as well. Okay. So we are an NGO. We have patients who are administrators and volunteers that help to run the organization. Wow. So we have different wings. Okay. Lupus is one of it. We have rheumatoid arthritis, other autoimmune conditions too as part of the organization.
Right. Is there a number to call, a short code to use?
Yes. So if you want to donate to our fundraising drive, we have a Momo number, 024 1929 755 if I'm right this time.
Pull it up so that you can give it out correctly.
I can give the correct one. So 024 1929 755. Okay. There is a short code as well for that. The short code is 275582.
275582.
Okay.
Right. That's a Momo short code.
That's a Momo short code. Okay. Reference GLOW. Right. Okay. If you want to donate to our bank account, it's the Rheumatology Initiative. It's an EcoBank bank account. Okay. Account number is 144 100 236 8850. Okay. If, however, you just want to find more information, to call, to talk, find out about diagnosis, get a referral, we have a landline 054 408 9065 that you can call.
054 408
9065.
065. Okay, we will repeat those things and then I'll make sure Abeku puts out those important numbers on our pages so that you can contribute. If you have any questions, concerns, my phone line is active 030-221-6541, 030-221-6541. We're talking about the cost of lupus, moving forward by giving back, right? Supporting those afflicted and affected by this condition, which is chronic, has no cure, but can be effectively managed to minimize the impact on lives.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Gladys, are you one of these administrators extraordinaire,
Gloria.
volunteers? Gladys has come again. Gladys is haunting me. I bind Gladys. But Gloria, are you one of these? Because I've seen most of you, lots of you, throughout this month on different media platforms. Most times it's a woman, it's a female. But you're one of these.
Yes, so I'm a
people?
volunteer.
Okay.
For the initiative,
Right.
coming out to share a story for people to also know about this lupus and come out. We coming out is also letting people know about it and knowing that we are out there, we are living our life, we are doing well. You can also do well.
Okay, this business of coming out, you say it again so coolly, calmly, nicely, but it's a challenge, isn't it?
It's a very big
Africans typically would like to hide this.
Yes.
If you didn't want to hide it, maybe your family or family members would say, "Hey, and Kokawe will be here." So when did you take that decision? Already you are living with the condition. That's bad enough, difficult enough, but you decide now to become an ambassador, talk about it, help educate people, and now raise funds. How difficult was that, and when do you arrive at that conclusive decision?
Well, I came to this conclusion a while ago, but like you said, family and all that has been, they all want the best for you. They don't want you coming out and putting yourself, you being someone who is tagged as sick already is a challenge.
Okay.
And now you coming out to say, yes, indeed, this is what it is. It's not easy. It's not easy on them per se. So this time around, I decided that, no, I mean, it's been 20 years for me. I don't know how long it's been for others, but I'm doing well by God's grace. I should come out and let them know that, no, you can do well. You can do...
Praise your maker. Validate your faith.
Exactly.
You don't hide with that.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Yes.
But people worry about discrimination, stigma, and so on and so forth. Last week we had questions about even your skin condition, right? I can see the changes in your hands and so on and so forth. I was trying to get her to dance earlier, but we'll do that off camera, right? But she says she dances, right? But wouldn't somebody use this to mark you negatively, stigmatize you? Doesn't it affect you? And folks, she is a qualified university graduate working with her qualification. What field are you in?
Agric. Animal science. Animal.
Oh, goodness. Wow. Animal science.
Yes.
Right? So you're working on a regular basis alongside this challenge.
Yes.
Right? So didn't you think that this could affect me at work or, talking about this?
Well, I've come to, university was my biggest challenge. I always say my skin wasn't like this a year ago.
Okay.
It wasn't like this 2 years. 10 years ago, it wasn't like this. It gets better.
Right.
So I just keep encouraging myself. And this stigma issue you're saying, I'll bring in God again, because I kept working in university knowing that so I told God, I came to a conclusion and I told God, I'm helpless at this point.
Right.
So He is the rock I'm going to lean on. So whatever happens, happens. I'm going to walk, and I have a verse that I go about with, Psalm 3 verse 2-3. Many there be which said of me, there is no help for her in God. But thou, O Lord, is a help for me, my glory and the lifter up of my head. I'm able to lift my head because of this verse. I stand by it. I walk by it. And I believe I'm confident knowing that I have a rock that is not shaking. Therefore, I'm not shaking.
No shaking.
So, no, definitely
shaking.
not. Even when I'm afraid, it's always in my head. Keep walking. You see somebody talking on the way, you think the person is crazy. I'm just encouraging myself and walking. So that, because even, let me give you this experience. Once I was in a car, and those days that my skin was, well, people see it and they think it's bad. It was worse some years ago.
It was worse than this.
Some years ago, yes.
Whoa.
It was worse, especially during my university days. And that time you get people coming to you. You don't want to talk, but people want to, ask you or give you some idea of, my grandmother has this. I ended up pretending to be deaf and dumb. So you can't come to me.
You did what?
There's so many interventions.
People are asking you questions.
So I pretended to be deaf. I can't talk. So yeah,
done.
So then I told God, I'm helpless. So you just be my rock. Help me to go, even walk with my head up. That was it for me.
You're more than the rock you depend on.
Yes.
I mean, what you just said, I don't even want to ask you to show us how you pretend to be dumb. But
that was just on one occasion.
Right.
It didn't happen again. I just kept keeping my head up, because people will keep staring. What can you do about it?
Your head is definitely up, Gloria.
Yeah.
It's up in the most amazing way. Folks, we're talking about the cost of lupus. You just listened to Gloria. She's been living with the condition, right, for quite a while. I'm going to give out those numbers again before Doc Jifade comes in again, right? The short code, the Momo Pay code, is 275582. 275582, right? Reference is GLOW. GLOW, GLOW, right? Okay. And then there's the Momo number 0241 929 775. 0241 929 775. Okay. I bet we'll put the bank details and other things on our page. But this is amazing, right?
Yeah.
And I want to spend some time just detailing, you sent me stuff which suggests that once identified, the average patient, okay, with average complications, presentation, must see you or must see somebody like you at least 4 times in a year.
Yeah.
For a routine review.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a matter of I'm doing fine, so I'm not going.
Yeah.
It must be reviewed.
A
minimum of 4 times in a year.
Yeah.
Just run us through some of the things that need to be done.
So, the 4 times in a year is for patients who are pretty stable. Okay. So if you are more active, that means you are going to see the doctor a little bit more frequently until
if your condition doesn't sit still.
Yes.
It's active.
It's active. That's things are, the disease is showing signs and symptoms, or we have not yet got to a stage that we call remission yet.
Right.
So you see the doctor more frequently. Anytime you come, you are asked to do labs to check on various organ systems. Mm-hmm. And then also monitor the medications that you are put on to suppress the immune system, to make sure that it is also not causing problems for you.
So these are routine?
These are routine. So we are doing your blood counts, your liver, your kidney tests. We are checking urine for any inflammation in the kidney. And we are checking certain markers in the immune system to see how active it is, so that we know whether we can tweak your medications up or down. Okay. And so you are doing this on a routine basis all the time.
You can't dodge.
Ideally, you can't dodge. But we get patients who can't afford it genuinely. Right. So they come and they'll postpone their review because they haven't found money to do it yet. Or they'll come and say, I haven't done it, but I have to come for review, so I've come.
That essentially is like tying your hands.
It ties your hands.
Or getting your specialist to wear a blindfold.
Exactly.
And still treat you.
Sometimes you're like, I don't know where we are, but I have to increase your medications because your condition is still active. Wow. But I don't really know what is happening to your organs at this point in time. So yes, sometimes you are forced to act blindly and still go on because you need to be able to do something. Right. Then now comes after you've checked the labs, now you adjust the medications. So you suppress the immune system with various drugs, depending on which organ is being affected. Right. We have the least being your steroids or prednisolone. And we have expensive things like drugs that we call biologics that can cost like 28,000 Ghana cedis. and we have minimum drugs like azathioprine, hydroxychloroquine, and most patients are going to be on at least 2 or 3 of these medications at a point in time. The minimum, sometimes we're doing pill count on our support group platform. I think the minimum number of drugs most patients reported as taken in a day was 8 tablets. That's like the minimum number of tablets.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So, folks, phone line is active 030-221-6541. 030-221-6541. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. We're coming up close and personal with lupus, the cost of lupus, right? Gloria and Jifa are here, and they're not wearing the colors they are wearing for fashion, though they're looking very, bespoke and trendy. But really, it symbolizes what we're talking about, the struggle, the challenge, and we're telling you emphatically, this doesn't have a cure, right? I have not dared to ask Dr. Day that, okay, when you suppress my immune system to reduce my flares, doesn't that change the job it does? Because my immune system is my Burma camp, right? My forces to fight other things, right? So I'll ask her that in a bit, right? But the phone line 030-221-6541. I've got some WhatsApps I haven't read. Good afternoon, Nortey. How are you and Doc? Well, we're fine, and Gloria is fine as well. It's been a long time I posed a question just because my radio has a little problem. That's why you don't hear from me. But today I'm able to use my dad's radio to listen to you. Great. Now my question is, why does the environment, or why aren't environmental triggers, are there environmental triggers that can bring on the symptoms of lupus? Secondly, is there any early warning sign of lupus? Hayford in Battle. Yeah, we've missed you. Thanks for your questions. Doc will answer them in a sec. Let me read a few more. This one says, we should not lend our own understanding. We should not lean on our own understanding, not in all our ways. We should acknowledge him, and he will direct our path. This is from Foster Fredua Ajiman. Okay. He says his mother is 87 years on the 20th of May. So, well, happy birthday to her in advance. This is from Sarah. Good afternoon, Nortey. I was diagnosed with RA in 2012 and have been on methotrexate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know the two conditions can coexist. Will Dr. Day advise that those of us who have RA should test for lupus as well? Sarah wants to know that. I'll come back to you in a sec. I see they typing. They are my MPs and my constituencies. So this one says, hello, with lupus, can a woman have children? If yes, what are the risk factors? This is a typical legendary Dede question. Do the risk factors outweigh one's desire to have children? Dede in Maryland sends that, okay? So she always sends a triumvirate. But yeah, so Sarah was asking... No, I want to go back to Sarah quickly. Dede is typing. Right. This is the one about advice to those with RA and possibly lupus. So
all of these diagnoses have definite criteria for diagnosing. Yes, sometimes we find our patients may have lupus, but a lot of times maybe the general practitioners or someone sees especially when the patients present with joint pains. The first diagnosis they think about is rheumatoid arthritis. So if you were diagnosed by a specialist and they are definite that it's rheumatoid arthritis, then there's no need for you to do further tests for lupus. There are some patients who have lupus and rheumatoid arthritis coexisting because they tend to manifest with different criteria, different systems being involved, different tests or antibodies that are positive. So if you've been screened properly, they should be able to decipher that, unless the investigations was limited to only one. So it depends on who is managing you. Ideally, you should see a physician specialist or a rheumatologist to make sure that your diagnosis is accurate and correct. But yes, there are people who live with both conditions. And we say autoimmune conditions are greedy or selfish, or they don't like walking alone, like some football team that we know about. They normally run in twos. So most people have one autoimmune condition. Over time, they'll develop another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Having children and lupus, did they?
Yes, you can have children with lupus. Lupus doesn't affect your fertility, so long as it is well controlled and you are doing the right thing. So we always say that it's something that you have to plan with your doctor in advance so that they know which medications to tweak, how to prepare you for it. Once you are stable, we advise you can't get pregnant, and your pregnancy will go the full length without any problems. If, however, you are active, pregnancy tends to make the condition more active, because remember we said lupus is driven by hormones. The women hormones, definitely. And so in pregnancy, a lot of people will experience flares. So if you are not careful, then you have two people at risk at this point in time, you and your baby. And then we don't know who to save or who to salvage for this. So you have to be careful that it's planned and you are stable for this.
All right. You're planning alongside your doctor. And your doctor,
your gynecologist.
And your gynecologist will advise you. Somebody in Frafra says, God help all of us, and blessings to Gloria, especially for talking about this. Hayford in Battle wanted to know environmental triggers.
Yes, so last time we spoke about it as well, that yes, you have to have a genetic makeup for your immune system to be wanting to be overreactive, but a lot of triggers have to set this immune system off. For lupus, we know the sunlight. Sunlight can trigger it. Estrogen, whether it's hormones or medications, can also trigger it. Stress can do that. Physical stress, financial stress, emotional stress can also trigger it for patients. Certain autoimmune diseases also have certain triggers. Silicon, petroleum products, and so on can also trigger some of these conditions to come about here.
Somebody's saying I'm having protracted hiccups for almost 2 years. Whoa. Okie dokie. It doesn't say whether the person has seen anybody. Protracted hiccups for 2 years. Whoa. Dede is back quickly. This says, click.
Maybe I should answer her last question. Do the risk factors outweigh? So yes, if certain organs are affected to a certain degree, we would definitely advise that you do not risk pregnancy. So if the lungs are affected to a certain degree.
Keyword is risk.
Risk.
And that is assessed.
Exactly. It has to be assessed. And then you know that definitely if you go, you are going to run into trouble. If
immune system is suppressed with the meds, is one not more susceptible to other conditions? That's what I was asking.
Exactly. So it's a fine balancing act that we have to do. So the immune system, even though it's overreactive, it's working over time, it's not working efficiently. So we suppress it to be able for it to do the work it has to do without killing you. But we also have to make sure that we do not overshoot it so that you become exposed to infections and other things. So yes, people who have autoimmune conditions by itself will be at risk of infections more easily, and the medications also make them more at risk easily. So you have to balance it out. Unfortunately, you cannot boost the immune system. I need to weigh in on this by trying to say I'm boosting the immune system because they say it's not working efficiently. It's like pouring petrol into a fire you are boosting it. It's already over boosted. So as for immune boosters, out of the way, but eating healthy to make your immune modulated, we will say definitely.
Great stuff. 54 minutes past the hour of 2. We're almost at checkout time. We've talked about the numbers. What has the response been like?
It's been improving over time. I think at the beginning.
Are you getting money or encouragement? Blessings.
At the beginning, I guess a lot of blessings. You're doing a good job.
That's Ghanaian.
But yes. I mean, the little that you can contribute can go a long way. We would rather have the money to help patients. That definitely will be what we need. Even if it's 5 cedis, even if it's 10 cedis, everybody donates some. We definitely would make a big mark for all of us.
So those on live stream, you can see the details, the bank account, the pay code, reference GLOW. All right. So you can also get the WhatsApp number all out there. But Abek will do his best, as usual, to put that out there. I wanted to be able to model, looking at the things routine, liver function, blood counts and all of these things, I wanted to be able to model. I haven't done the calculations yet, and say, well, if you have, let's say, 100 Ghanaians who regularly, maybe even monthly, give 5 CDs.
Exactly.
We'll get this and that. Yeah.
That is what we hope for.
I'll do the modeling next week, even though we might not be talking about lupus. We'll see how we can put that out. And you can see that, some kebab that you chose not to chew has lifted somebody's life.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, indeed.
Somebody else was typing. There was something I saw that I wanted to ask you about. In the things you sent. Okay, investigations, medications. There was something that struck me that I wanted to. People are sending me messages when I'm looking for GFS. What's up? But okay, so all of these, right? There's a table here, right, which suggested direct and indirect costs. Can we quickly explain that? What do you mean by direct costs?
So we did a study trying to look at the cost of lupus on patients. So direct cost is how much money they are spending.
Okay.
Indirect cost was looking at other things, jobs and other things, employment and so on. So the direct cost, on average, we found out that over a year, the minimum a patient would spend on their care was almost 8,000. That's like the minimum. Maximum was like 80,000 and this is out of pocket patients. That is what those who are on insurance or paying or anything. This is what they will take out of their own pockets and
now
pay
you brought
for their
me to
costs.
where I wanted to go because I realized from the study you forwarded to me.
Yeah.
Thankfully, most patients are on national health insurance, which doesn't cover everything.
Doesn't cover almost anything.
Almost anything, right? Yes. About 92% of them are on that.
Yes.
And then there's another lower percentage which are on additional private insurance. And
that covers a good number for them.
So there are private insurance schemes that cover some of the stuff that they need covered.
Yeah, but if you look at that study, most of those who are on this private insurance too were on it because of their jobs that had signed on to these private insurance. Right. For us, I think the important message for us for that study was over 90% of the patients were on national health insurance, but they don't get anything out of it. These drugs are being paid for other conditions. So why not for lupus? Right. Prednisolone is so cheap. Why can we not have it on national health insurance? Why can't we have calcium tablets on national health insurance as a coverage overall? Why is methotrexate there for cancer patients but not for lupus patients?
It's so that's for cancer.
Yes, but also for salazine is there for cancer patients, but they won't give it for lupus patients. So if a pharmacist wants to even use these questions because they are trying to be sympathetic and write it off as a cancer treatment, but we are also existing. It's a condition exactly. For us, because we are there, we've been put on the standard treatment guidelines, the national essential drug list. So it should cover for our patients as well to reduce this burden for them. Right.
Okay. Somebody's not being nice to us at NHIS or IA. For various conditions, we have this fight and this discussion to have, right? To tweak our national health insurance so that it's beneficial to a broader spectrum, but it doesn't kill itself or crash. Definitely. It's an important discussion we need to have. Yeah, Gloria and Jifa, I don't know. I just want to say thank you. And Abeko and I will figure out how best we can get some steady stream going. I want to place it at the barest minimum. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us again.
And we'll take our purple pictures. The sports guys are streaming in. I know there's a Man City. Is it Man City West Ham? Which could be a king-making bout or battle, right? And we're sitting here in Ghana, we've got our own battles. But yeah, the sports guys are coming in. We've got to do that with them. So, hey, Nortey by Nature is out of here, literally kicked out because there's soccer, footy coming up. And people want to know whether it will affect Arsenal or is it Man U. I thought, Man City, sorry. I thought they were clear by now. They're not clear yet. They're not safe. Just 2 points. Hey, the devil is a liar. All right, I'm out of here. Stick and stay on Joy 99.7 FM. Many thanks to you, my discerning listeners. And of course, many thanks to Abeku Sakofi, my producer. And Abraham, last week, you spoke to us about something similar, we'll get in touch with you and link you with the guys at the rheumatology clinics. Take and stay. I'm out.